Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Scorebook Stories. We have a lot of awesome stuff to talk about today. Well, not really awesome, if I'm being completely honest. It's not really that awesome of a thing to talk about because I'm about to tell you why your favorite team probably isn't going to make the playoffs. Why is your team going to be out of the playoffs? That is what we are going to be discussing. There's a number of teams on the outside looking in the wild card. There's a number of teams that have a wild card position that are close to losing it. It's a weird situation that we are in at the moment. Um, there are a number of different projections for what team is going to be making the playoffs, who's going to be in and out, and all that fun stuff. But we are just going to kind of be a little bit of a Debbie Downer all all day today. And then next week, it's going to be very positive as to why a bunch of teams are going to make the playoffs if they haven't clinched the playoffs already. Like the Milwaukee Brewers, they have already clinched a playoff berth. So let's get started in the AL East. The New York Yankees are 83-65 right now, and they are currently in the number one wild card spot. They are 2.5 games ahead, but the errors on defense are just a problem. They have been for an extended period of time now for the New York Yankees. They are 6th in the MLB in errors committed. They have a very unreliable bullpen right now with a bullpen ERA of 4.53. That's not going to cut it. That is not going to win you a World Series. It does not look good at all. They are 3rd in strikeouts as hitters. Like, they're not striking out. They're 7th in strikeout percentage at 23.1%. It's not a good look for them right now. They are doing some things right, but this episode's all about the bad things. Bad bullpen, a lot of errors on defense. That could cost them a chance at the playoffs. Like, they are not a lock for the playoffs by any means, even though right now they do have a 99.6% chance of making the playoffs. I really do not think that is at all comfortable for any Yankee fan or the New York Yankees clubhouse, the New York Yankees front office. That is not a comfortable way to look at the postseason right now. They have to stay locked in. They still have games coming up. And yes, they are against bottom division teams, but they are still teams that can steal wins. And with only a 2.5 game lead in the wild card, they're teams that could cost you with the chance of playing October baseball. Next, we're going to talk about the Boston Red Sox, also in the AL East. They are 81-68. They are 0 games behind in the wild card. They are going to probably miss the playoffs because of inconsistent offensive production. And a lot of that stems from losing their leadoff hitter in Roman Anthony. He got injured and it has not been the same. They also are 7th in strikeouts while batting, which leads them to be 9th in strikeout percentage at 23. They are 6th in caught stealing. They are 1st in errors committed. I thought the Yankees error issues were a problem. In Boston, it seems to be a lot worse. And I think a lot of that has to do with a lot of the early struggles that the Red Sox had with the whole drama surrounding Rafael Devers. That was when most of their errors were committed. They have cleaned it up a good amount since then. I mean, last night they committed a couple errors. 2 nights ago, they committed a few errors against the Yankees, which helped allow the Yankees to win 2 of 3 so far. They have the final game coming up later tonight. But overall, I think the Red Sox just need to be a little bit more consistent if they want to continue to put up wins and get themselves in the best position to make the postseason. But it is going to be a difficult task for them to do that because they have a series coming up against the Blue Jays and a series coming up against the Tigers before the end of the season. Those are 2 very difficult teams to get wins against. They have great pitching. They have great offensive production. They have great defense. It's going to be a very difficult task for the Red Sox to come away with series wins against those two teams, which could hinder their production and chances of getting into the postseason. And the Tampa Bay Rays are 7-ish games behind in the wild card right now, 7 or 8, somewhere, I think somewhere in there. And I think they just don't have enough time. They're playing the Blue Jays twice. They're playing the Red Sox. Both teams are ahead of them, and they don't got enough time to make a push for the playoffs, in my opinion. In the AL Central, the Cleveland Guardians are in the wild card spot, looking in right now, 3.5 games back, and they are probably going to miss the playoffs because of 2 series coming up against the Tigers. That's going to just be a problem. 6 games against the Detroit Tigers, and you got to try to get yourself into a playoff position. It's not going to be easy at all. They're 76 and 71 right now, and they have the worst team batting average in the MLB. So if you can't hit the ball and you got one of the best teams in the league to play, it's not looking very good for you. The Kansas City Royals are 74 and 75. They are on the outside looking in when it comes to the wild card as well. They're 7 games back in the wild card. They have 2 difficult series coming up as well. They have a series against the Mariners and a series against the Blue Jays. 2 really good top teams, and it's just going to be a difficult task for the Royals to try to come away with series wins there against, again, great pitching, solid offensive production, and reliable defense. The Royals also are 28 of 30 in runs scored in the MLB. They are 21st of 30 in hits, 25 of 30 in strikeouts. It's not a great place that you want to be if you are trying to make a playoff push. Over in the West, I put both of these teams on there. I think they both are going to be making the playoffs. We have the Seattle Mariners and the Houston Astros, both at 81 and at 68. It is unbelievable, but it is going to be difficult for both of them. Realistically, they both will make the playoffs. Their odds right now, the Mariners have a 94% chance to make the playoffs, according to Fangraphs, and the Astros have a 79.1% chance to make the playoffs. And the reason that they are not higher than that, they're not at 99 or 98, is because of who they have to play. The Seattle Mariners have a series coming up against the Astros and a series coming up against the Dodgers before the end of the season. Those are 2 very difficult opponents that the Mariners are going to have to win 2 of 3, 3 of 4. I'm not sure if they're 3 or 4 game sets right now. It's going to be very difficult, and they are also 4th in strikeouts as a batting team. That's not where you want to be. It's a difficult spot. I mean, they are winning games right now. They're finding ways to get wins. But if you want to be a playoff team and a contender for a World Series title, you cannot strike out that much. And you are going to have to overcome teams like the Astros and the Dodgers on a regular basis. Speaking of the Astros, the Houston Astros are also 81 and 68. They are right now in the playoffs based on wild card spots, but they have the series against the Mariners, and they also have a series against the Rangers coming up. That is not going to be an easy win, even though the Rangers are behind them and the Mariners in the standings for the division. It's still not going to be an easy game for the Houston Astros. They're going to have to win those series, both of them, if they want to try to put themselves in the best possible position to make a postseason appearance. And the Texas Rangers are another team that is on the outside looking in right now. Texas is 2 games back in the wild card. And with their series against the Astros, another series against the Guardians coming up, it's not going to be an easy road. They are 25th of 30 in hits as an organization, and that is just not going to cut it. They need to get on base. They need to hit the ball very well. They need to get themselves in the best position to win ball games and help out their pitching staff, who is doing relatively well. I think that the Rangers do have a chance to get themselves into the postseason, but at 78 and 70, right? 79 and 70. At 79 and 70, they're really going to have to make a strong push and win every series the rest of the way if they want to guarantee a postseason appearance as an organization. 7MM Sports is your hub for all things Seven Mountains Media sports. You can watch the latest of Sports Talk with Steve Jones episodes. You can find what station you can listen to your favorite Penn State sports team on, and you can even get live social media updates all the time. All of these things are available along with every single show produced by Seven Mountains Sports over at 7mmsports.com. Now we're going to move over to the National League, where the New York Mets look terrible. They look absolutely awful right now. They've lost 8 straight games. They are currently half a game ahead in the wild card standings right now. Like, it's not looking good for the Mets. They have very difficult series coming up. They have a very unreliable bullpen. Their team ERA is a 4.06. Their bullpen ERA is a 4.10. It's not going well for New York Mets fans right now. I'm seeing countless videos online of Mets fans absolutely losing their minds because of the way that this team has been playing as of late. And it's not even against what I would consider like super dominant teams either. And they have 2 very dominant teams coming up on their schedule. They got a series coming up against the Padres and a series coming up against the Cubs. Both of those are going to be difficult games because the Padres and Cubs both hit the ball very well and they have pretty solid pitching. It's going to be a battle, and the Mets are not in a good spot right now to make the playoffs. They very well could miss the postseason after spending all that money on Juan Soto and Pete Alonso. They could miss the playoffs because of the way that their pitching staff has been performing of late and how shaky their defense has been as of late as well. It is not looking good for the New York Mets. Hopefully they can turn things around though and get themselves into a position where they could be a wild card team, because I don't think they're catching the Phillies in the division at this point. Over in the NL Central, the Cincinnati Reds are there as well, looking outside, looking in for the wild card spot. They have 2 difficult series coming up as well. They're playing the Cubs and the Brewers. Both teams are ahead of them in the division. And the Reds are also 9th in errors, which is not a great place to be. The Reds right now have an 8% chance of making the playoffs. They still can do it. They can. They aren't awfully far. Like I said, they are 1.5 games out of the wild card spot. So they're going to have to overtake the San Francisco Giants and the New York Mets over the next couple weeks here if they want to get themselves into the postseason. It's going to be difficult, but it is doable. I think the Reds have what it takes to beat the Cubs and the Brewers, but again, it's a tall task, and it's a lot to try to get into a position where you're going to be able to beat the Cubs and the Brewers, who are the best team in baseball right now. And being 9th in errors, it's not a great look for the Reds right now. And if you're trying to predict, I think the Reds are going to miss it. The St. Louis Cardinals, they are also on the outside looking in, and they have they have probably the most difficult schedule the rest of this month, if I'm being honest. So I don't think they're going to make it, for the sole fact that they are going to be playing the Brewers, the Giants, and the Cubs. That's a lot of great ball clubs that they're going to have to take down. They're going to have to win 2 of 3, 3 of 4, if they want to put themselves in a position to make it to the postseason. And it also doesn't help that the Cardinals are 29th of 30 in strikeouts hitting, and they have a 4.28 team ERA. That's not good. So they need they really need to lock in if they want to try to get themselves in a position to win games and get themselves into the postseason as a wild card team, because they ain't catching the Brewers in first place. They're just not. It's not going to happen. Moving over to the NL West, we have the Padres, who are right there. They are so close to winning the division, and they are most likely going to lock down a wild card spot, but they have a 99.6% chance of making the playoffs. It's going to be a battle, though, because they have difficult series coming up against the Mets and the Brewers. The Mets, yes, have been slumping, as we just talked about, but the Mets are still the Mets, and they have a lot of star power. They have a lot of offensive production that can produce in waves. They always have. They can be a difficult team to defeat, and the Padres are going to have to keep the Mets in their funk. If the Mets somehow break out of their slump against the Padres, it could lead to disaster for the Padres and dump them out of a playoff position. It very well could happen. And the Padres also have another series coming up against the Brewers before the end of the month. That's not going to be a fun one. It's going to be a very difficult matchup for the San Diego Padres because the Brewers have just been hot. They are getting hot at the right time, and they are not slowing down. There are no signs of the Brewers slowing down at all. Next, we have the San Francisco Giants, who are half a game out of the wild card spot, and they are 7th in errors committed. That's not great. I don't think the Giants anticipated finding themselves in this position when we were around the trade deadline. I really don't. I think the Giants were looking to build to the future. They were looking to build for next year. They weren't planning on a postseason push, but they're in a position right now where they can sneak themselves into a wild card spot. And they also have a couple games coming up against some pretty high level teams like the Los Angeles Dodgers. So the Giants could find a way into the postseason via the wild card, and they could also kind of ruin the season of some of these other teams like the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers have not been playing incredible lately. They've been doing all right. They haven't been awful, but they did get swept by the Pirates earlier this month. They have not been pitching all that well. They blew a game with 1 out to go against Baltimore. The Dodgers have not looked clean, and this is not a good time for the Dodgers to do that. They need to lock in before October starts, or it's not going to go well for them. But the Giants have that series coming up. The Dodgers are always a difficult opponent to take on. So if they can manage to steal some, then cool. They might get themselves into the playoffs, but it's going to be difficult, and I'm not entirely positive the Giants are going to be able to do it. Then that leads us to the Arizona Diamondbacks. They are a team that I think also was not expecting to make a playoff push. I don't think they were planning to be a playoff team or a playoff contender at this time when we got to at the trade deadline. They thought they were pretty much out of it, but they're not too far out. I believe they are 2 games back in the wild card. They're only 2 games behind for a wild card spot. And the reason I think they're not going to make the playoffs is because they chose to be sellers at the deadline instead of improving to gain ground on teams ahead of them in the standings. If they would have chose to try to get better and try to improve their team, then they probably would be in a wild card spot right now, if I'm being completely honest. But they are really not in a great position to sneak themselves into a wild card spot because they have a series coming up against the Phillies, they have a series coming up against the Dodgers, and they have a series coming up against the Padres. It's going to be a difficult stretch the rest of the way for the Arizona Diamondbacks, who are 2nd in blown saves, and they have a 4.83 bullpen ERA. That's terrible. That is terrible. So the fact that the Diamondbacks are this close to a playoff berth and sold at the deadline proves that if they would have hung on to Josh Naylor, Eugenio Suarez, and tried to go out and get better at the trade deadline, they probably would be a playoff team or even contending for first place in this division. They could have been. I'm not saying that's exactly what would have happened, but it is possible. And I think they're going to miss the playoffs because of it. Stay up to date on everything going on in the sports world by heading over to Seven Mountain Sports on Facebook, Seven Mountain Sports on X, on Instagram. We are on all of your favorite platforms, and you do not want to miss out on a single thing going on here at Seven Mountain Sports. Let's take a look at our standings around the league. Toronto is in the lead in the East with a 86-62 record. Yankees behind them, 83-65, 3 games back in the division. Red Sox are 81-68, 5.5 back. Tampa Bay is 73-75, 13 games back. Baltimore is 69-79, 17 games back. Detroit is 84-65, leading the AL Central. Cleveland is 77-71, 6.5 back. The Royals are 74-75, 10 games back. The Twins are 65-83, 18.5 back. And the White Sox are 57-92, 27 games out of the division and eliminated from the playoffs. Out west, Seattle and Houston are in first place at 81-68. Seattle has the first place spot right now. I think they have the tiebreaker over Houston right now. Texas is in third with 78-70, 2 games out of first place. The Angels are 69-80, 12 games out, and the A's are also 69-80, 12 games back. In the AL wild card, the Yankees have a 2.5 game lead. Boston and Houston are tied at 0. Texas is 2 games out. Cleveland's 3.5 games out, and Kansas City is 7 games out of the wild card spot. Over in the National League, the Phillies have the lead in the East at 89-60. The Mets are 76-73, 13 games out of the division. Probably not going to catch the Phillies right now. Miami is in third at 70-79, 19 games out of the division. Atlanta is 65-87, 23.5 out of the division. Washington 61-87, 27.5 games out of the division, and they are eliminated from the postseason. In the Central, Milwaukee is the first team to clinch a postseason berth. I believe the Phillies could clinch tonight, I believe. Milwaukee is leading the NL Central 91-58. The Cubs are in second at 84-64, 6.5 out. The Reds are 74-74, 16.5 out. The Cardinals are 72-77, 19 games out. And the Pirates are 65-84, 26 games out of first place. In the West, the Dodgers have the lead at 83-65. The Padres are second, 81-68, 2.5 games out of first. The Giants are 75-73, 8 games out. Arizona is 74-75, 9.5 out. And the Rockies are 41-108, 42.5 games out of first and eliminated from the playoffs. Obviously. In the wild card, the Cubs are 8.5 up. The Padres are 5 up. The Mets are at the line. They're the last team in. San Francisco is half a game behind the Mets. The Reds are 1.5 back, and Arizona is only 2 games back. So it's gonna be a race to the finish line for a struggling New York Mets team, and a lot of these teams that are honestly probably a little surprised that they're even in contention. When we look at our statistical leaders, Aaron Judge has the lead in batting average, hitting .325. Jacob Wilson's hitting .318. Bo Bichette, .311. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is hitting .305. Trey Turner is also hitting .305. Hits leaders, Bo Bichette at 181. Trey Turner at 179. Luis Arias at 165. Bobby Witt Jr. is at 164. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Julio Rodriguez are at 163. Cal Raleigh has 53 home runs. He is leading the MLB. Kyle Schwarber is hitting 51. Shohei Ohtani is hitting 49. Aaron Judge hitting 47. And Eugenio Suarez has 45. RBI leaders is Kyle Schwarber at the top with 126. Pete Alonso has 114. Cal Raleigh has 113. Eugenio Suarez has 109. And Riley Green has 108. Pitching leaders, Paul Skeens leads the way in ERA with a 1.92. Unbelievable. Tarek Skubal is next with a 2.26. Hunter Brown has a 2.27. Christopher Sanchez has a 2.57 along with Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet does lead the way in strikeouts, however, with 228 strikeouts. Tarek Skubal has 224. Logan Webb has 206. Paul Skeens has 203. Dylan Cease has 201. Wins leaders, Max Fried has 17 wins. Carlos Rodon has 16, along with Freddie Peralta. Garrett Crochet has 15, and there is a number of guys in the league right now with 14 wins. Saves leaders in the MLB, Carlos Estevez has 39. Robert Suarez has 37. Andres Munoz has 35. Trevor McGill has 30, along with Jeff Hoffman, and Yohan Duran also has 30. It is a great season for a lot of these players. They are playing unbelievably well. Aaron Judge is hitting the ball really well as well. He has passed Yogi Berra and Joe DiMaggio this season as on the all-time Yankee home run leaderboard, which is kind of cool. Nice little fact for them. Cal Raleigh, I think, has the most home runs ever by a catcher. Like he's crushing the ball. There's Kyle Schwarber is very close to breaking the Phillies all-time home run record. Unbelievable play for a lot of these players. And that leads us into the storied player of the week, which is none of the guys that I just mentioned, but he is a Philadelphia Philly along with Kyle Schwarber. Otto Kemp. I'm giving Otto Kemp the storied player of the week award. 6 games played, 21 at bats, 9 hits, 2 home runs, 3 doubles, 5 runs scored, 7 RBIs, and he hit .429 over the past week. Unbelievable. Great job by Otto Kemp. It was very impressive to watch him do his thing. And I think Otto Kemp is proving to be an impact depth player for the Phillies, which is going to be a key part in the Phillies making the postseason and having continued success through the month of October. Like players like Otto Kemp who just show up, do their job no matter where they're playing in the field is very important for a world championship level team. The storied pitcher of the week is going to Brian Wu from Seattle. Pitched 2 unbelievable games, got 2 wins. He had a 3 ERA over the past week. 12 innings pitched, 43 total batters faced, allowed 4 runs on 6 hits. 2 of those hits were home runs. Only walked 1 over the course of the week, and he struck out 22 batters. Great week for Brian Wu. Unbelievable performance. And that's the kind of performance that the Mariners are going to need from him every time he's on the bump leading up to October if they want to get themselves in the best position to make the postseason. Games to watch this week. Phillies at Dodgers, potential playoff matchup there. Padres at Mets, 2 second place teams scratching for a postseason berth. Mariners at Royals. Mariners want the division and Royals want a wild card spot, so it is going to be a battle. And Mariners at Astros. This is the battle for the AL West. It's going to be intense, and everyone is going to be playing at their best. There's going to be an extra gear that a lot of these guys find, and it's going to be a great series to watch. You are definitely going to want to check that one out. So enjoy a wonderful week of baseball, and come on back next week right here on Scorebook Stories as we are going to talk about why your favorite team is probably going to make the playoffs. Then we are going to get right into it with previewing the matchups for the postseason, do a little bit of end of the regular season awards, do stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come on back here to Scorebook Stories next week for more baseball talk. Make sure you are following 7 Mountain Sports on all of our socials, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, all that and more. Plus, you can also head over to 7mmsports.com and stay up to date with everything going on in 7 Mountain Sports. And make sure that you are subscribed right here on the 7 Mountain Sports YouTube channel to never miss an episode.